For some people, putting their lives on the line in selfless acts of bravery is all in a day's work. When the terrible Ebola epidemic broke out in West Africa last year, British medics headed straight for the front line. To tell us more, the Prime Minister, David Cameron.
Good evening, Carol, and good evening, everyone, at the Pride of Britain Awards. Last year, an outbreak of the deadly Ebola virus began spreading through West Africa. It wiped out entire families. It devastated communities. And quickly, it became the disease's biggest epidemic in history. 3,000 NHS staff, military personnel, and aid workers from Britain answered Africa's call, putting themselves at grave risk. What they all did to set up treatment areas, give out vital medicine, care for the victims and contain the disease, saved countless lives. This special recognition award is a tribute to the professionalism and the bravery of all those British people who went to help.
One of the volunteers on the front line in Sierra Leone was Scottish NHS nurse Pauline Kafiki.
I had no reason not to go, so and plenty of reasons to go.
And the military team included intensive care nurse Corporal Anna Cross.
I said goodbye to my family, and it did feel very final. They felt this might be the last time they saw me.
1 month into her service, Anna caught Ebola.
I had started to develop symptoms that made it look like my organs were failing. I thought then that I wouldn't survive.
On her return to Glasgow from Sierra Leone, Pauline discovered that she too had contracted the virus. Both women were flown to London's Royal Free Hospital and put into isolation.
The tent was pretty small, and then there was a window. My family were behind the window. I was in multiple organ failure, and I had a horrendous rash. It was very painful. Just touching my skin was agony.
I wanted my partner to be able to come in and hold my hand through the protective suits. But they had told me it was only if I was going to die that they would allow someone to come in. I think the worst thing about the virus was just being really afraid that ultimately I might die at 25.
Thanks to a dedicated team of over 50 staff at the hospital, Anna and Pauline were eventually cleared of Ebola.
I could actually go home and I had my whole life ahead of me.
In West Africa, many of those who were saved had heart-rending stories, like 18-year-old Daniel Touré, who lost 27 members of his family.
And is now free of Ebola.
But the virus has now been brought under control.
Without the dedication of British medics, British Armed Forces, British nurses and volunteers, the death toll of 11,000 would have been far higher. The outbreak would not have been contained as effectively as it was. They truly are the pride of Britain.
Please welcome Pauline Kafiki and Corporal Anna Cross, and with them, from Sierra Leone, the young man we saw in the film, Daniel. Daniel, thank you so much for joining us. It was a terrible thing that you witnessed over in Sierra Leone, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it was probably the most shocking thing I'd ever encountered in my life. And, it's really hard now in a room like this to describe quite how devastating it was. But I don't think it really reflects, our experience doesn't really reflect the experience of people in West Africa, yeah, and how much they suffered in having Ebola.
Pauline, you said you couldn't think of any reason not to go.
Yeah, every reason to go and no reason not to go.
And would you do it again?
Absolutely.
Yeah, without
a
hesitation.
doubt. Yeah. Yeah.
It's amazing. If I could turn to you, Daniel. It's a tragedy happening over there, or was happening over there, and I know that you lost a large number of members of your family, didn't you?
Yeah, it's really a tragedy. Ebola is a very deadly virus, and whichever family it enters is, let me say, a devastated family. Yeah, like for us, we go through a lot. I was belonging to a very large family, but unfortunately, we've lost 27 members of our family now. And it's really very difficult, you know. After going through that horrible experience, before ever I was taken to the treatment center, what I was thinking was that I'm going to die too, you know. But when we were in the treatment center, even though I was having that thought, I was also having another thinking also that there are some people out there who have survived this virus, and I should not give up, you know. All is not lost. Even though I've lost a family, I should just be strong. Yes, in the treatment center, we lost our brother right in front of us, who was a graduate. That was what I could call my saddest moment in my life. Seeing your brother struggling dead in front of you, you know, it's very sad. Shortly, yes, after that, but it doesn't destroy my courage, yeah. I kept on thinking that, hey, I can survive too, even though I've lost my brother. But not only myself, I have to help the others in the treatment center. So by then, my condition was worse, but since it was better than the others who were almost bleeding, I went out, you know, running through the wards, helping the medics, giving food to some of them, giving them courage, say, eat, you will survive. Eventually, after just 10 days, I was tested, my biochemistry test was made, and I became negative. They said, Daniel, you can go home. I said, no, I have to stay. I have to stay. My sister's health was also worse, so I decided to stay for more than 6 days in the ward. Even though I'm negative by then, but I decided to stay just to help save the lives of others in the world as well. So I believe in doing that, it's a great thing for me. Even though I've gone through a horrible experience, but I have to enjoy later. I wasn't able to save my family, but I was able to save the others in Sierra Leone.
And your sister, Cecilia, is here with us tonight, isn't she?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, she's
here.
come from Sierra Leone as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Daniel, thank you so much. And are you now training to be a medic?
Not yet. I've just sat my West African Senior School examinations, and I have a passion from childhood. I want to become a medical doctor. But, well, before I say anything, I want to say thank you to all of you here in the room. I want to say thank you to the British people, and I want to also say thank you to the British government for intervening in an emergency like that. I don't know if I'm appealing for support for scholarship to study in the UK, because, as you all know, education is the only successful. It's the only success that can prevent potential suffering. Thank you very much. Thank you for having you all around here, and thank you for having me also in London. Thank you.
Daniel's courage is unbelievable to witness what he has.
Yeah, I mean, what we went through was absolutely nothing compared to what Daniel and his sister Cecilia are going through, have gone through, and still will go through for years. I mean, what we done was nothing. We're not heroes, those guys are. We were just doing our job.
Do you agree?
Absolutely, and in their communities, they're still not accepted, and I think the state in Sierra Leone is still bad, the healthcare system there is still bad, and it's fantastic to see how positive and the positive things they've brought from the chaos that they've encountered.
Thank you. Well, here to present your award are two people who wanted to come and express their admiration for the courageous work that you have done and others like you have done. First of all, a lady who's been supporting the cause in Sierra Leone, Saran Jones, and Mr. Comic Relief and Save the Children supporter, Sir Lenny Henry.
Hi. You say you're just doing your job, but you are brave, selfless people who are, as we see in the film, risking your life to save the lives of others, and we just want to thank you, and all the organisations out there, and also Daniel, you're telling us thank you, but we want to say thank you for being here and sharing your story. You're amazing.
I want to say, like for us in Sierra Leone, we have the Creole language. We say thank you.
What do you say?
Thank you. Thank you to everybody here, right?
It's been incredibly moving listening to the stories backstage. All night it's been, this is my first time here, this is just devastated. Watching all the reaction shots of everybody in the room, we're all incredibly moved by all the stories. This is an incredibly moving story, and thank you for sharing it with us, and thank you for working so hard. You are heroes. Daniel, this is a small thing, but it's really meant. Also, thanks to everybody in Britain who donated money to the emergency fund that the DAC put together, which raised £34 million. So can we have a round of applause for that, please, as well? Congratulations. You can stay at Simon Cowell's house tonight, and you will be a doctor.
Thank you, Lenny. Thank you, Saran. And congratulations to you on behalf of all the great British aid workers and volunteers who've been out there. And thank you, Daniel, for sharing your story. Our love to Cecilia as well.